Africa's journey has been shaped by long periods of struggle that affected how the world viewed the continent and how Africans viewed themselves.
Many countries lived for decades with weak infrastructure, unstable services, and difficult living conditions that limited their progress. Colonial systems stripped resources, disrupted social structures, and left nations dependent on external powers. Even after independence, the effects remained as powerful countries continued to influence who governed Africa. Puppet leaders were often supported when they served outside interests, which allowed foreign nations to control minerals, oil, and other resources. Africa holds almost 40% of the world's mineral reserves, including significant shares of gold, platinum, cobalt, manganese, and rare metals used in modern technology. Yet, the continent earned only a small fraction of the value generated from these resources because others controlled extraction, pricing, and distribution. This created an economy where Africa produced much but owned little. These conditions shaped the daily reality of millions. Roads were broken or unfinished. Unreliable power slowed business growth, and industries struggled to compete with imported goods. Many young people left their home countries to seek better opportunities overseas. Western media often presented Africa only through images of poverty, hunger, war, or corruption, strengthening global stereotypes and hiding the full story of a continent with deep history, strong cultures, and huge potential. For a long time, Africa was spoken about rather than listened to.
But in recent years, a major shift began to take shape. The continent is rising in a new way, driven by its young population, growing digital access, stronger regional cooperation, and more balanced global partnerships.
Infrastructure. Smart cities are rising across Africa as symbols of modern planning and a new future. Egypt is building the new administrative capital and new Alamein city, both designed with digital services, green energy systems, and modern housing. Kenya continues to develop Konza Technopolis. Nigeria's Eco Atlantic stands on reclaimed land and is designed to become a major financial and residential area. Abuja's Centenary City is planned as a center for investment, business, and modern living. Ghana's Greater Accra Redevelopment Plan aims to improve housing, transportation, and public services. Kigali continues to stand out for its clean, organized layout and digital services. Infrastructure growth across Africa shows the scale of transformation happening today. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is one of the continent's most ambitious projects, designed to produce thousands of megawatts of electricity and turn Ethiopia into a major energy exporter. Dangote's refinery in Nigeria is the largest single-train refinery on Earth, built to reduce fuel imports and support local industries, with a current capacity of 650,000 barrels per day and quickly expanding to 1.5 million barrels per day, making it the largest refinery in the world, able to supply fuel to most of Africa, including Europe and America. Egypt's Grand Egyptian Museum stands as one of the largest archaeological museums ever built. There are thousands of infrastructure projects across the continent, reshaping and gentrifying the face of the motherland. Across the continent, other major projects highlight Africa's change. The Addis Ababa to Djibouti Electric Railway, the Kazungula Bridge between Zambia and Botswana, Morocco's high-speed rail line from Tangier to Casablanca, the Maputo-Katembe Bridge in Mozambique, the Algiers Metro expansion, Kigali Innovation City, Botswana's Technology Research and Innovation Hub, and the Nairobi Expressway. These projects make travel easier, support trade, connect regions, and boost local economies. Urban transportation is advancing quickly. Addis Ababa introduced modern light rail. Cairo expanded its metro. Nigeria continues to build new rail lines like the Lagos to Ibadan rail line, the Abuja to Kano to Itakpe rail line, and the numerous metro links within the country. Kenya upgraded its rail system, especially the standard gauge railway linking Mombasa to Nairobi. Morocco developed one of Africa's most advanced transportation networks, combining high-speed rail with strong road links. Tanzania and Ethiopia invested in new cargo trains that connect them to ports, improving export capacity. Air travel also expanded. Ethiopian Airlines became Africa's strongest airline, connecting the continent internally and linking African cities to major global destinations. Rwanda, Kenya, Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa strengthened their aviation sectors, making it easier for Africans to travel within the continent.
Other initiatives highlight Africa's rising strength. Rwanda built a strong digital identity system, clean energy projects, and stable governance.
Senegal continues developing Diamniadio, a new urban center meant to reduce pressure on Dakar. Morocco's Noor Solar Complex is one of the largest solar energy plants in the world. South Africa remains an industrial and financial powerhouse. Côte d'Ivoire, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Benin are experiencing strong economic growth backed by manufacturing, agriculture, and technology. Technology. The growth of technology is one of the strongest signs of Africa's rise. Technology hubs and innovation centers are appearing across the continent. Kenya's Konza Technopolis is planned as a smart city focused on research, data centers, universities, and tech campuses. Botswana's fast-growing tech hub supports startups and creates room for software development, financial technology, and digital services. Rwanda is investing heavily in turning Kigali into a technology service capital of the continent, with strong investment in innovative tech incubations that have provided revolutionary initiatives like smart drone delivery systems for the medical sector. Lagos's Yabakon Valley has attracted billions of dollars in investments and generated the most unicorn startups in Africa. Accra is implementing global tech initiatives with startups attracting large financial injections from venture capitals across the world. Dakar, Johannesburg, and Cairo also have thriving tech communities that attract investors all over the globe. In the past decade alone, African tech startups have raised a cumulative total of over $28 billion in seed funds. Fintech remains one of Africa's most successful industries. Mobile money systems like M-Pesa in Kenya changed how people transfer money, save, borrow, and pay for daily goods. This success inspired new fintech startups in Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, and South Africa. Digital banking, online lending, savings apps, and mobile payment systems helped millions join the formal economy. This created jobs and pushed financial inclusion forward in ways that traditional banks could not achieve. Government restructuring. Governments across the continent also began forming new partnerships that give them more independence.
For decades, Europe and the United States had dominant influence over African politics and economics. But in the last 15 years, many African countries built strong ties with China and Russia.
Choosing to work with partners who offer infrastructure, investment, or security assistance without the same historical baggage. China built roads, bridges, hospitals, and railways in dozens of countries. Russia expanded security cooperation and helped with energy and mining agreements. These new partnerships changed the balance of power. Western nations can no longer approach Africa with old attitudes. They now face competition, meaning African leaders can negotiate from a stronger position. This shift improved Africa's global standing and encouraged more transparent, respectful engagement from older partners. It also reduced overdependence on one source of funding or support. African countries can now choose deals that match their priorities instead of accepting the conditions that others once imposed on them. Africa also made major progress in strengthening trade within the continent. For decades, African countries traded more with Europe, America, and Asia than with one another. This made the economy vulnerable to global shocks and foreign policies. The African Continental Free Trade Area was introduced to solve this. A FCFTA creates the largest free trade zone in the world by population. It reduces customs barriers, allows free movement of goods and services, and encourages local manufacturing. When fully implemented, African businesses will be able to move products across the continent without paying high duties, which will increase local production and help African industries grow. To support a FCFTA, African nations launched a cross-border payment system that allows trade in local currencies instead of depending on the US dollar. This reduces transaction cost, speeds up business, and gives African economies more independence. It also helps protect protect local currencies from unnecessary fluctuations caused by dollar shortages. Many countries have also partnered with BRICS, a group that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Several African nations are joining or seeking to join because BRICS offers new financial support, development banks, and urgent trade routes. This reduces dependence on Western-controlled institutions and increases Africa's influence in global decisions. The power of the youth. Africa is now the youngest continent in the world, with more than 60% of its people under 25. This means most Africans were born in the internet age or grew up with access to phones and digital tools that their parents never had. The internet changed how they learn, work, and connect with the rest of the world. It opened doors to careers in programming, trading, content creation, marketing, digital design, online freelancing, and many other fields that offer global income instead of local limitations. This young population is learning quickly and adapting fast. They are building online businesses, creating apps, joining tech communities, and sharing ideas freely across borders. The rise of social media gives them a stronger voice. They can challenge stereotypes, tell their own stories, and show the world what everyday African life actually looks like. Many are building large audiences and using their platforms to promote culture, music, fashion, and innovation. This is helping change how the world sees the continent and how Africans see themselves. Soft power. Culture is also pushing Africa forward. African music now leads global charts. Afrobeats, Amapiano, and other genres fill stadiums worldwide. Nigerian and South African artists won international awards and signed global contracts. Nollywood became one of the largest film industries in the world, supported by streaming platforms that showcase African stories to millions. Fashion designers from Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Kenya reached global runways. African athletes continue to shine in global sports. The rise of digital creators helped bring African culture to the world. Photographers, filmmakers, dancers, chefs, educators, and entertainers are building massive audiences online. This is creating a new global awareness of African lifestyle, beauty, creativity, and innovation. Africa's future looks bright because of the strong foundation being built today. A young population full of energy, growing digital skills, diversified partnerships, improving infrastructure, cultural influence, and stronger regional cooperation all point to a new era. The continent is no longer waiting for others to define its story. It is writing its own story, building its own systems, and shaping a new identity built on confidence and growth. The future, no doubt, is unequivocally African.